Toy Story 4 is the newest Disney Pixar movie and the fourth installment in this Toy Story franchise. I think it's safe to say the Toy Story trilogy is one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. I think it's definitely the best animated movie trilogy of all time. Literally all three of those movies, perfection. I feel like it's one of those rare trilogies where anyone out there could pick any one of them to be their favorite, and no one's really going to dispute you on that because each one of them are just so great in their own special way. And I think I speak for everyone when I say the way Toy Story 3 ended, it really felt like the ending of a story. Andy goes off to college, he passes his toys along to the little girl Bonnie, and that's really where the story would conclude. Having gone 9 years without a Toy Story movie, without really any hints that a new Toy Story movie was going to happen, everyone felt, yeah, that was the ending of it. Great ending. That's why I gotta be honest, when I heard that they were making a Toy Story 4, I was looking forward to it, but I was definitely skeptical. My fear was they were making another Toy Story movie just to be a cash grab because they know it's going to make a ton of money, it's going to bring all the audiences, all the families, and you know, it's just, that's what it's beginning to feel like for me, and I'm just like, that's not what this should be. I don't want this to be like Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where it just, you know, makes a franchise worse because of that. Going into this movie, I wanted it to be great, but I wanted it to be necessary. I wanted this to feel like a story that we needed, and I'm thankfully here to tell you guys, after watching Toy Story 4, this was a necessary movie. I'm so glad they decided to make a fourth one and do it this way, because this movie's awesome. What we knew would be one of the things from Toy Story 4 would be Woody reuniting with Bo Peep. We knew that she would have a big role in this movie, and what I liked in the opening scene of this movie is we finally do see what officially happened to Bo Peep. We get a flashback to Andy's childhood. He was just playing with his toys. There was a horrible rainstorm going on outside. RC, that little remote-controlled car, he was stuck out there, so the toys planned a rescue mission. The toys were able to rescue RC, but we discover it was at this time Andy's younger sister Molly gave away some of her toys, one of them being Bo Peep. And you know, Woody and her are now forced to say goodbye, and it's just kind of forced Woody to just press on with being a toy. That was something I immediately appreciated with this movie. I'm glad we got to officially find out what happened. This movie now takes place around 2 years after the events from Toy Story 3 when Andy gave his toys to Bonnie. Bonnie's now going into kindergarten. She's playing with the toys as she did in the last movie. What I also liked seeing right here, and what I really appreciate this movie looked like it was doing, is it was showing why this movie immediately would be necessary. Because the ending of Toy Story 3 did feel like the ending of a story, but you now realize that the ending of that story was Andy's story. You know, he was going off to college, he was becoming an adult, he's like, I can't hold on to these toys anymore, it's time for me to pass them along. I'm pressing forward. But we discover here that some of Andy's toys, namely Woody, they haven't really pressed forward yet. They haven't really moved on. I think you especially see it in Woody here because when Woody was Andy's toy, he was the undisputed favorite, you know? He was everything to Andy. In this case, though, Bonnie is a different kid. She's a different person. She plays with toys a different way. And as a result, she's not maybe going to play with certain toys as much, so it's caused Woody to maybe get a little bit less playtime than some of the other toys have been getting. You can tell that's something Woody is struggling to adapt to, that's something he's struggling to really get behind, but I really appreciated seeing that. But you know, what I do love seeing with Woody is, as much as he may miss being Andy's toy, as much as he may miss being, you know, the front runner of this crew of toys, he still knows the most important thing is to make sure Bonnie is happy. And one day when she comes home from kindergarten, Woody and the rest of the toys, they discover that she made a little toy out of a spork that she named Forky. Now Forky's alive. He doesn't have any idea what he is, though. He still believes he's just a spork. He believes he's trash. And this leads to some really funny moments. I mean, Forky's just freaking out. He doesn't want to be a toy. He has no idea what it means to be a toy. Every chance he's getting, he's trying to go for the trash. He's like, that's where I belong. That's my home. That's my destiny. And then one day, while Bonnie and her family are on a little vacation, Forky just jumps out the window of the moving RV because he doesn't want to do this anymore, so Woody's going after him. It's as they're trying to make their way back to the RV, Woody and Forky, they're kind of getting to know each other a little bit more, and it's right here, Woody explains to Forky what the benefits of being a toy are, right now, Forky's like, alright, I'm on board. Let's go back to Bonnie. That was something that did kind of worry me a little bit. It's like very quickly, Forky's now able to go from I want to be trash to okay, I'll be a toy now in pretty much a split second. Just from what I saw in the movie, that seemed like that would be maybe one of the big plot points, but you quickly find out as the movie goes along, that's really not. That was just a little something to have as a joke. They did a good job of misleading, and I appreciate that. Just as they're making it back to the RV, Woody notices in an antique store, he sees something that looks like Bo Peep's lamp, and it's got him thinking, could it be? He and Forky go inside, they don't find Bo Peep, but they do find this doll named Gabby, who's got a bunch of these ventriloquist dummies working for her. At first she pulls the whole, oh yeah, I can take you to your friend, no problem, but she starts asking Woody a bunch of questions. She's like, oh, you have a pull string, what year were you made? What kind of system do you have in your voice box? And then Gabby pulls a whole, oh, I have a voice box too, but mine doesn't work. Mine's never worked, so a child's never wanted to play with me, so you've got something that I need. Yeah, of course, Woody's like, nope, I'm not about that, so he takes off. Unfortunately, Forky gets stuck there, so he's still trapped in the antique store, so Woody's gonna have to find a way to get him out of there. But now as he makes his way through a carnival, Woody ends up running into Bo Peep, who he discovers has basically just been a lost toy. Yeah, she's no longer with the owner that she was passed down to, and nowadays she's just teamed up with all these other abandoned toys, and they're just kind of doing their own thing. Like I say, it's really great seeing Bo in this kind of element because this is something we're obviously not used to seeing her in from previous Toy Story movies. She's more gung-ho, she's got more of a leader quality to her right now. She's just, you can tell being on her own has toughened her up a bit, which is cool to see. I mean, not that she ever wasn't, but certainly not to this extent. And now on the other side, the toys are all freaking out. Where's Woody? Where's Forky? So Buzz is like, alright, I'm gonna go after them. I'm gonna try to find them. He eventually makes his way into the carnival, but he ends up being used as a prize for, one of those water balloon games that they have at carnivals, where here, he meets Ducky and Bunny, voiced by Key and Peele. I started to get a lot more excited for this movie once I heard Key and Peele were gonna be in this movie, because I freaking love Key and Peele. I say, yeah, Key and Peele as Ducky and Bunny. Oh, these two were hysterical. They've been hanging on these walls forever. They want to be won so they can be a kid's toy, but no kid ever wins these games because, every carnival game is rigged. The things they say, the way they act, it's very Key and Peele in a very kid-friendly way, and it's still hilarious. The two of them with Buzz, I also felt really brought a lot of comedy into this movie because Buzz has a bit more of a comedic role in this movie too, I should say. It's kind of a different take on Buzz. In this case, he doesn't really know entirely what to do. He's trying to push the buttons to try to find, the voice in his head on how he should perform, what he should do. Basically trying to listen to his own conscience, but I guess he's not really sure what his conscience is. He's definitely different of what we've seen of Buzz Lightyear in previous Toy Story movies, but it worked for this movie, so I was able to roll with it. Soon enough, Buzz, Woody, and, all the toys they've, met, they all reunite, and now it's like, okay, we all have to work together to get Forky, and Buzz like, I know a toy that could help us. And here we get introduced to a Canadian daredevil toy named Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves. Awesome. Speaking of comedy in this movie, Duke Kaboom he was just great. He's got this really tragic backstory, how, he's one of those, wind-up toys, you pull back on it, and then you let it go, and it just rides. Some kid got him, except he was unimpressed with how far he actually went when you pulled back on him, so he didn't want him anymore, and now Duke gets, performance anxiety when he has to, get pulled back and launch and just go. It's hilarious. You see the PTSD, the flashbacks, and you're just like, oh, poor Duke. I will say right here, one of the flaws that I did have with this movie is this crew of toys that I've been mentioning, they're really the ones that get the most spotlight. The ones that we've been used to seeing, like, Jessie, Bullseye, the Potato Heads, Ham, Slinky, Rex. Those toys don't really get their chance to shine as much. We don't really see a whole lot of them in this movie. And you get, as these Toy Story movies have been going on, we've been adding more and more to the franchise, so it's hard to give everyone else a whole bunch of spotlight. But for me, I'm like, those toys have been here since the beginning. They've been here this whole time. If anyone deserves the spotlight, deserves screen time, it should be those toys. But again, maybe the movie is trying to be a passing of the torch for potentially future Toy Story movies, so they want these new toys to get more of a spotlight. I don't know, but I'm just saying that's how I felt. Now it's right here, Woody, Buzz, Bo, and these other toys have gone into the antique store to plan a rescue mission for Forky. Like I say, it's really funny seeing some of the execution of these plans, or seeing some of the thoughts that Ducky and Bunny have on how to plan the whole rescue mission. It's just, It's just moments that were really, really funny. That's where I'll definitely give this movie a lot of props. This is probably, for my money, the funniest Toy Story movie we have gotten so far. I mean, Pixar movies are always known for having great humor and great heart, but this one especially had really awesome humor. I figured the movie would make me laugh, but I didn't think it would make me laugh as often and as hard as I was at times. This movie was hilarious, and I loved that. This right here, Gabby the doll, she's not gonna give up Forky. She's like, I'll make a trade. I'll give you Forky if I can have Woody's voice box. And Woody finally gives in. He's like, alright, we can make the trade. What I do appreciate the movie does here, though, is although Gabby's kind of been painted as the villain of this movie, at this point, you begin to sympathize with her because even though she has a working voice box now, the little girl that's been in this antique store for a while, she finally notices her, you know, she picks her up, you know, she looks at her, but at first you're maybe thinking, oh, okay, she's going to take her in, you know, she's going to finally have an owner, she's going to finally have a kid, you know, she's going to be played with, but, you know, the kid just looks at her and is like, meh, and just throws her back in the bin, and, you know, now Gabby's just, she's crushed, she's like, that was my one shot, like, I was finally fixed, I finally had something working for me, and I'm still not wanted. Even Woody at this point feels for her, and he's like, you know what, maybe I should help her. But now it's right around this time, the family has finally fixed the RV, so Buzz has to get himself and Forky back to her before they leave, otherwise that's going to be big problems. And Bo at the same time is trying to get Woody back to her as well, because Woody can't get left behind, but it is right here, he does feel like Gabby still needs to be helped. And here we do get a really sweet moment in the movie. At this point, they find this little girl, she's lost in the carnival, she's just, you know, she's hiding, she's crying, she doesn't know where she is, and Woody looks at Gabby and he's like, this could be your chance. So they lower her down, you know, they activate her little voice box so the little girl hears her, you know, picks her up, holds her, hugs her, you know, starts to feel a little bit better, and soon enough she's found by her family, and, you know, she takes Gabby home, and now Gabby finally has a kid, you know, she's wanted as a toy. It's a really touching moment, it's a really heartfelt moment, those are the kind of feels that Pixar always knows how to bring out of ya. It's just, it's nice. But now the RV's just about to leave, all the toys are reunited, and Woody, you know, he says goodbye to Bo because he knows he has to go back, but it's as he's making his way back to them, we get an ending that I wasn't really expecting, and yeah, it was an emotional ending. Woody finally realizes, and the toys he's been with this whole time, they all begin to realize, in Woody's case, his time with them, it's over. Woody has begun to feel like his new purpose is to help these abandoned toys, or these, you know, unsold toys, find kids, find owners. So with that, all the toys gather around Woody, they all give him a hug goodbye, you know, Buzz and Woody, they hug goodbye. That was the one that began to get to me. I was just like, oh man, you see, you're basically seeing best friends say goodbye to each other, like that's, that brings out the feels. Woody even passes the sheriff badge on to Jessie, because that's kind of the role she's now been taking, since Bonnie has been playing with her. And you know, the toys go one way, Woody and Bo, they go another. And that's where the movie ends. And honestly, it's an ending that I really felt was fitting, because now you've seen this movie, Andy had his closure in Toy Story 3, now Woody, who has truly been the main character in all these Toy Story movies, he finally has closure. Because you've begun to realize this whole time, Andy was the one and only true kid for Woody. As much as he cared for Bonnie, as much as he liked being a toy for Bonnie, Andy was, that was his guy, that was his kid, and when he got passed down, he felt like something was missing, and now he feels it's best off if he is an abandoned toy, if he is a lost toy, you know, helping these toys find owners. And that's why I love the line. Like, one of the toys says, so Woody's a lost toy? And Buzz says, nope, he's finally found. And you feel like Buzz and Woody had that little goodbye between each other. It's like, we're separated, but never forgotten between each other. To infinity and beyond. But yeah, all in all, I was very nervous for Toy Story 4. I want it to be great. This movie was awesome. Voice acting in this movie, as always, it's been great. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, everyone else, they do phenomenal. I like seeing Bo Peep back in these Toy Story movies. I like seeing the role she ended up having. The new characters we got in this movie were awesome. Forky, Ducky, Bunny, Duke Kaboom, all great. I do wish the toys that have been with us from the beginning got a little bit more screen time, a little bit more of a spotlight, but again, I do understand to a point why that didn't happen. The movie had a great story, it had a lot of heart, it brought the feels, it had a very emotional ending, the kind that I really felt was a true ending potentially for this franchise. Will they make more movies? I don't know. I don't think it's impossible, but I'm not so sure if Woody's going to have a role going forward in these movies, and if he's not a part of these movies, I don't know if you can really have a Toy Story movie. But in the end, my biggest fear was this movie would not feel necessary. It would just be a cash grab. I walked out of this movie feeling that was necessary, that did need to be made, and now the Toy Story franchise has probably become the first ever quadrilogy where we have 4 awesome movies. Pixar's just done it again. It's what they do. That's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.